I don't know if I prefer to express the dark side per se. I think it just gets expressed. I think it needs to be expressed. I think it's important that it be there.
I've never heard anybody quite like him. Some of his songs were originals, and some were old gospel songs, and some were old blues songs, but I couldn't really tell what songs were written in the 21st century and what songs were written in the 1920s. I'm Wayne Robbins, and I've been a music critic for about 45 years in the United States. The first concert I reviewed was the Rolling Stones at Oakland Coliseum in California in October of 1969 with Ike and Tina Turner and B.B. King, the opening acts. There's a very spiritual element to Charlie's music, and he talks about it too, and the stuff that he prefers, stuff that inspired him, like Charlie Patton or Blind Willie Johnson and Blind Willie McTell and people like that. You know, there's that kind of blues was always a little bit, you know, kind of crossover. There was a little gospel to it. There was a little bit of there was a spirit in it. And I think Charlie somehow comes to that naturally. And I think that's kind of Charlie's magic. What makes him so interesting is that he's kind of a timeless kind of guy. And he doesn't seem to be part of any particular decade. When you talk to him, he's not, you know, you can't say he's not a contemporary person because he's alive today, you know, and we're all the sum of our experiences, and but you sense that he has been completely unaffected by any of the trends in pop music over the last 20, 30, 40 years. He's one of those rare contemporary musicians whose music was not shaped by what's on the radio, what's been on the radio, or what's been popular at all.
One thing that's interesting about Charlie is that his lyrics tell stories. I'm not often sure what the stories are about. I think he writes mood music, you know, with an attitude, or there's a point of view there. My real favorite Charlie Parr songs are those that just seem to be about some sort of spiritual connection with something that he gets through his music. And he is the rare musician who is able to convey that. I get a real spiritual buzz from him. Not religious, not Christian, not Buddhist, or any other kind of thing.
If you ask what kind of music he plays, you know, you could say, well, he's kind of like a folk singer, he's kind of like a blues singer with a kind of country roots. You could throw that word Americana around, but none of them really get at what makes Charlie Parr Charlie Parr. He's so distinctive. There's nobody really like him.
more realistic than I am spiritualistic. That's a hard question because, I think I probably, maybe I am more than I want to admit it. It's something that when I was young, my dad in particular told me just all the time, just don't talk about religion to people. Don't talk about your faith. Don't talk about politics, It's not, unless you're in a position where you have something to win by it, just leave it alone, People believe what they believe, you believe what you believe, and that's it, And that's kind of a lot of prevailing attitude among the people around the town I grew up in. Because I get up every day and I live my life, and I think I do have a faith, and I think I do have a sense of, spirituality, but it's not kind of outwardly manifested in anything in particular, unless going for a walk in the woods with the dog is a way to manifest my faith. I like the idea of just, taking it in the moment and being appreciative for all those little moments that you get, and they get all tied up into a life, and at the end, hopefully, you'll be happy that you have had that opportunities that you have had. So thinking you're so wise that you could tell someone else what the nature of a God is, it doesn't, I don't get it. I just don't see it, and I wouldn't presume to do it, But I like the music. I sing the hymns, I play the hymns at my shows, And it's not just religious songs either. There's songs like East Virginia that's just such a heavy, thick piece of music, A lot of religious songs have that same kind of gravity, that whether you believe it or not, it's a heavy thing to think about and sing about. And it makes for really, it makes for the music that I can get behind. But man, I love that music so much. It just, it makes you vibrate, I think good music, not good music, but the music that you love should make you vibrate, make you move inside. And, when you find it, that's good enough.
Jesus is a whore-born fast freight out of Denver, huddled up under a twin stack, his back against the rain. He's hoping to make the West Coast, his food is running low. He's been traveling on these roads for 2,000 years or more.
He has a really good, solid reputation, has a really nice following who will come out for him, especially over here, whenever he plays. I think he's an honest guy, and he's an honest musician, and he's an honest songwriter, which don't all necessarily come about at the same time. And I think there's a high degree of integrity in what he does. He feels what he does, and I think that's pretty unique. And to put all that together, as well as being a kick-ass guitar player, and a pretty good singer, it's a nice package. It's a nice package. A lot of artists sing songs about stories, and they're not really to do about them. I prefer the ones that let you see who the person is, and as a songwriter, as a musician, that's what appeals to me. And I think Charlie has that in spades.
It's been a long time. Like, his name is everywhere, and it's been like that for more than 10 years. It's very honest, and it's very working class, sort of, and it's very from the heart. He Every time I've interacted with him, he seems to be a man of very few words and just many smiles and nods, and that's it. Just very grateful and thankful, and that's it. So he just plays music because he likes it, and it shows, and it comes out through it. I just get a working class feel. I get the idea that he books his own shows, and he figures everything out for himself, which maybe isn't true at this point. After doing it for so many years, he probably has help doing that, but working class in the sense of he's going to make music and he's going to play it, and if people like it, great, and if not, well, that's fine too. So
if you can reduce a song to one voice and a guitar, or one voice and a piano, and it works, but then it'll work no matter what instrumentation you put onto it. And I think that's what Charlie has.
You're gonna need me. You're gonna need me. Find me where you look. You're gonna need me. You're gonna need me. You can't always see the truth. Jesus is a whole board of fast freight. Got a den huddled up under a twin stack, his back against the rain. You're gonna need me. You're gonna need me. Find me where you look. You're gonna need me. You're gonna need me. You can't always see the truth.
What it actually says, that's a good question. It's everything to me, as far as if you were to go deep inside yourself, as deep as you can physically go and pull out all those feelings and emotions. That's what it says to me. It's a lifestyle. It's not it's not a thing that you just do. It's like Charlie just doesn't play guitar, and I just don't play guitar or harmonica. We live for playing, It's you wake up every day and you do it all day long, and it's how you spend your whole day, And it's not like that you try to do it. It's just it's just what you do because that's what you want to do.
I think the reason that I started playing with Charlie was because I hear him play his guitar and I can hear that underlying beat, whether it be kind of a train thing or just a hit the beat, like all the old recording field sessions that were done, going into the field and recording all of these rural people playing their like homemade banjos, playing washboard, fiddlesticks. He exposed me to an entirely different world of music that I never was exposed to when I was a kid. never met anyone like him in my life. If somebody would have said 4 years ago, your best friend is going to be a 43 or 45-year-old guitar player, I'm like, what? But no, he is. He's the best man I've ever met in my life.
And it seems like that he'll just write these songs, and when I hear them, they're just so fantastic that I can't get over how he doesn't stop. You know, he just keeps going like a machine, you know. He's my favorite guitar player and songwriter in the world, you know. It's amazing that I can actually sit down and play with my favorite guy. Not too many people can do that.
Two friends, are hard to find. Two friends, are hard to find. You only got to be one, and always be around. Well, the old family with happy family, they will call the whole country, and maybe it ain't true that you have to be alone. They just drive around picking folks up and being your friend when you're down in your luck, and maybe there's a car that'll make enough for us all. Friends, are hard to find. True friends. You only got to be one, well, they always been around. And true friends are hard to find. True friends are hard to find. You only got to be one, well, they always been around. Yes, they will.
He spends a lot of time on the road, and it's very cold in the areas that he goes. I mean, Charlie Parr is living in Minnesota and having been based there his whole life. I've looked up his itineraries, and his itineraries seem to go from Duluth, where he lives now, to Minneapolis, to Brainerd, Minnesota, to Fargo, North Dakota, to Billings, Montana, to Boise, Idaho, to Spokane, Washington, down to Portland, Oregon, down to San Francisco, and then back. But that's it. He's really big in Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Chicago. They know him, Montana, but the very sparsely populated parts of the coldest parts of the United States, of the upper Midwest. And there's something of that, the austerity of the upper Midwest in his music, the very basic, very plain, unadorned, music to survive a cold winter's night with. I asked him about his background and growing up in Minnesota, in a kind of company town of Austin, Minnesota, which is a small industrial city. And both his parents worked at the Hormel factory, but he also lived on the edge of a cornfield. And the Minnesota that Charlie grew up in is in many ways quite different from the Minnesota today.
Yeah, they're all little bits of autobiographical material. Some more than others, and some too much, and some, just kind of the right amount. But yeah, I'm in all of them somehow. you know, working with people who are homeless or otherwise kind of marginalized, and being raised in a heavily union family in a factory town, you know, where for the longest time I didn't realize that anybody in town had any money at all. And so, you know, that stuff creeps into the songs because that stuff has just been with me, you know. I suppose if I had been on the other side of that fence, my songs would probably reflect that, I guess.
I'm waiting for my dad. I'm waiting for my dad. I'm waiting by the tunnel of the plant today. He's gone. Union boys have left the line. Union boys have left the line. And they walked right out of the plant today. They're standing by the gate. The governor sent the National Guard. The governor sent the National Guard. The guard came out, beat them down. They stood, good Lord, their ground.
What I just described was well before the strike, you know, because Austin's been, well, I suppose a lot of factory towns are polarized in the sense that there's, you know, the executives and there's the rank and file. When the strike came along in Austin, that division got insanely big. It was crazy. To the point where you wouldn't go out. They brought, you know, scabs in to replace the workers. You wouldn't dare set foot out in a bar at night because nobody really knew who anybody else was, you know, and people were drinking and there was fighting everywhere. And the National Guard was in town. So no, it was horrible. It was horrible. I stayed in town throughout the whole strike, and then right after the strike got broke, I left and I went to Minneapolis.
Freeways littered with trash. Freeways littered with trash. I pulled a 16-penny nail out of my tire last night in the window of broken glass. My workers' shoes for combat boots. My workers' shoes for combat boots. Stood toe to toe in the street today, daring them to shoot.
I write about stuff that you know is important to me, and when I was young, you know, my dad's primary stock of kind of storytelling for me had to do with traveling. The big story of my mother's life happened when she was just a little girl, and it was the Depression, and the Dust Bowl was reaching north, you know. And they decided to leave, packed up their car, and took off down the road. Stopped at the Reverend's house to say goodbye, and he said, well, I'm bringing in, the onions need to be weeded. Can you help me weed the onions? And they never left, you know. In my mind, listening to the story, they traveled then. You know, now they didn't really. They didn't go anywhere, but the sense of pack up all our stuff, go down the road. You know, your mind is set for traveling, you know. And then it was all the migrant workers come through that part of the country and help with the, you know, planting season, harvest season, you know, walk the beans, detassel the corn, whatever was going on. There's the migrant workers coming through. Life is about travel, even when you're not, you know. And it's always about it's about travel because, you know, it's you know I'm on the move all the time. I feel like, you know, even when you're not, you know, your head's on the move.
I'm waiting for my dad. I'm waiting for my dad. I'm waiting by the tunnel of the plant today. He's gone.
you know, and you'd get to these certain places where people just wanted to relax and have a good time, and, you know, you go flogging them over the head with a bunch of murder ballads, you know. Nobody has any fun then, you know, you make sure of it, you know. It's like, you know, it's self-indulgent, you know. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be selfish about this. If people like the music, I want to make sure that, you know, they get to hear something that they enjoy too. And I have fun, like last night when they finally kind of broke through that invisible barrier, you know, of being worried about getting in your way. When they finally kind of broke through, you know, I could feel Dave just like pump up a little bit because suddenly they were right there, you know. And that, you know, that gives me something really tangible, you know. It's like, you know, they're giving me back a lot of energy, and you know, so now I just go with it, you know. If people yell out requests, I play them. If you know, if I feel like the night is going to be one where they're gonna, you know, wanna dance, I play the jumpy stuff, and it's more fun. And I still get to play the stuff I want to play. You know, I can still play murder ballads. I just amp them up a little bit. I mean, people just get murdered faster, and other people dance to their murders. It's really kind of macabre. But then if you play something like Midnight Has Come and Gone, sometimes that has this really intense effect on people. It's the same energy, you know, it's just that they're not like jumping around or moving, but they're giving you this kind of psychical energy, and you feed off of that. So it helps you to make a meaningful evening of music for both you and them. But I've never really felt a lot of pressure about it. I never really felt like I needed to fret about it, because if it comes naturally, it'll be there and it'll be really good. And if it doesn't come naturally, you can't force it. You know, you can't, because it's not all about you. You know, I bring what I have to the stage, and I do my best. You know, and I put it out there. And if it doesn't interest anybody, there's nothing more I can do about that. You know, I can't go out into the audience and say, look, you know, you like this. Because if they don't, they don't, you know. I've done kind of my job. I put it there, and I've done a good job. If I've done a good job, you know, I've done my best. You know, I put it out there, and there it is. It's like feeding the birds. You know, you put out bird seed that you hope that they like, or you know, the kind of bird seed you want to feed them, and you put it out there, and then you're done. That's kind of your job. You know, you go back inside, and look out the window.
Got them worried blues all down. I got them worried blues. Well, I got them worried blues, Lord, Lord, and I ain't gonna be treated this way. Like wine, Lord, Lord, down, I'm going where the water tastes like wine. Low down, I'm going where the water tastes like wine. Lord, down, I ain't gonna be treated so way.
It was the first time I'd seen him play. I knew who he was, just having grown up in Minnesota, because he's been playing music for a while and has a name people know. You know, I've seen him in Bozeman, Montana. He played for 2.5 hours without a single break, and there's 300 people in there. Mostly very young people dancing like there was no tomorrow, you know. Or I've seen him play in a bar 2 a.m. and sing this ancient spiritual song. Or to see somebody take songs and images and music and inspiration from our past, our ancestors, our roots, and excite a room full of people at 2 a.m. in a bar, or 300 people in this town in Montana, that impacted me in the sense of getting to learn that this genuine person on stage is also who he is off stage. Everything that Charlie does feels so honest and authentic, it just kind of reminds me of the power of humanity and of our roots and being connected to the past and how that can move us just as much as something brand new today, maybe even more so.
I got them worried blues, oh now I got them worried blues, oh now I got them worried blues, Lord, I ain't gonna be treating this old way. Now I'm going where I can sleep out every night, I'm going where I can sleep out every night, I'm going where I can sleep out every night, and I ain't gonna be treated this old way.
Charlie gets to Australia and the neck of his guitar is broken, and he ties it together, fixes it with popsicle sticks, little wooden sticks, and rubber bands, whatever he can find, because Charlie is very handy. He's a craftsman, and he plays the whole Australian tour that way. He can play with a broken guitar. It doesn't get in his way because he has something inside that he conveys.
What you see is what you get. He is a very unique individual, and he doesn't put on any, airs for who he is or how he presents himself, and he's just the real deal, I guess. Tries to be honest in the music that he plays and the life that he leads. He's a great human being. He just plays and sings with such passion that even if you don't necessarily like his style of music, maybe it's not your thing, that I think most people appreciate the passion that he puts into what he does. He doesn't compromise what he likes for anybody. He's my husband.
Hey, honey, baby, I need you now. Oh, honey, baby, I need you now. Well, it's honey, baby, I need you now. Lord, I don't want to be treated this old way. I got them worried blues. Lord, now I got them worried blues. Well, I got them worried blues. I ain't gonna be treated this old way. Well, I got them worried blues, Lord, now I got them worried blues. Well, I got them worried blues, and I ain't gonna be treated this way.
And the recording process is like the writing process. If you can get, that picture with one kind of, then it's the best. I mean, the records that are my favorite, like King Earl, went just bam, we went in, sat down and did them, and they were done, and they felt right, it felt like a show. It felt like a really good live show, and it was over. 2 hours later we were leaving wherever we were. Jubilee was that way, Every time I set foot in the regular studio, you can hear that clock ticking. It's very expensive to be there, first of all, and you know that as soon as you walk through those big doors. You're supposed to play a song that you feel very personally about, that you maybe sweated some blood over writing. You're supposed to play it in such a way that you're going to be proud of it and people are going to listen to it. And I think, in my case anyway, they're going to hear me feeling this oppressive atmosphere, and feeling the no windows, and feeling the clock ticking, and all that stuff just falls down on your head. I can't do it, But when I sit in Dave's garage where we recorded Jubilee, yeah, we had to move gear in there, and yeah, we had to shove junk aside, and we couldn't move the boat because he couldn't get his truck started. Those are fun problems, though. They're good problems to have, They're problems you don't care that you have. You like those problems. In this new record, there's a truck that stops and idles outside during one of the ballads. I'm like, oh, but then you think about it again and think, yeah, of course there's a truck outside. I'm glad, I wish it was a bigger truck, whatever. You know, so it's much better than a studio to me. Mastering is done at Creation Audio at a studio that my friend Tom rents time at the desk. And so we went there one night after 8 p.m., you know, and just sat there until I think 1 in the morning together, and we mastered the record together. I don't like the idea of sending stuff away to have it mastered somewhere else where I can't be there. I like to be involved. I like to listen for myself. You know, I don't have much of an ear for it, but you know, I just like, you know, it's my record. I like the process of being there and being involved the whole step of the way. You know, going to Noiseland and hanging out with Dan and doing the record. You know, it's fun to have my hands on it. You know.
My name is Andrew Valna. I'm the owner of Noiseland Industries. We met Charlie through another band in Duluth, Trampled by Turtles, and been working with him for, I'd say, over 10 years. You know, I take each project very personally. Yeah, but Charlie is someone whose music we identify with and we enjoy, so it's an added benefit. Charlie uses his music to capture his sort of, you know, like any good artist, you know, to convey his worldview. He's from Duluth. Duluth has a rich history. It's a working, it was a mining town that sort of fell on difficult times. To understand Charlie, I think you just follow him around, walk around Duluth, you know, and then maybe you'll draw your own conclusions. I can't, you know what I'm saying? That's the best way, I think, to see where he makes it, to see where he's from.
See all these old ladies coming in here to buy the cheap wine. They know better, Lord, they ain't no better than all these bums coming in here to buy the cheap wine. I'm leaning against the counter on a gloomy day. Snow falling, clear the sidewalks and the entryway for all the old folks. The bombs and the hustlers and the rude kids. I can't stand aside any of them. I wish I could sell this place. Wish I could buy a boat and I'd sail away. See all these old ladies coming in here to buy the cheap wine.
Charlie bought me my first washboard a long time ago and told me if I took it home and learned how to play it, he'd get us a show somewhere. So I did, and he did, and we started playing in clubs around Minneapolis. I was working in a shelter for homeless men, and Charlie was delivering food to people sleeping outside, and every day he would come to the kitchen where I worked and make 300 sandwiches and bag lunches and get in a very old truck and drive around and find people living outside under bridges by the railroad tracks and feed them and get to know them and help them. And so we were sort of doing some of the same kind of work. The recordings have always been interesting. Some, you know, the first one we did live in about an hour, maybe 2 hours. King Earl, I remember he called me one day and said, "Can you drive up to Duluth tonight and go to this alley on 2nd Street and 2nd Avenue and walk down the alley and you'll see a door about 5 feet tall." And so I did, and I go in and I sit down and we make a record. We make King Earl in about 3 hours, and then I get in my car and drive back to Minneapolis. We just finished up recording down in Winona, Minnesota, in an art studio, a gallery, and I like it. It's very warm, very humane settings, you know, and sometimes studios can be very cold and dry. and the machinery almost takes over. And I think he looks for settings where the soul trumps the machinery, are Charlie tells stories in his songs and evokes feelings about people who often are left out of history and are left out of the story of this community, and most communities, which is sort of the underclass. And he's able to bring their feelings to other people and their stories at some level. This idea of the commons, this sense of the commons, spaces where all people are welcome, all classes and cultures and races, and the point isn't to make a profit or to, but it's a place where people can experience joy or feelings. And I think his music is a form of the commons, like a common space where people can gather around. And anytime I get to be a part of that, it's really fulfilling for me and who I am and my own values and how I wish the world was. When you create a song or a story and put music to it and put it out in the world, it takes on a life of its own. And I think his songs have a lot of life and a long life. And it's exciting to be a part of that.
You see all these old ladies coming in here to buy the cheap wine, and they ain't no better, no, they ain't no better than all these bums coming in here to buy the cheap wine. I'm leaning against the counter on a gloomy day, snow falling clear the sidewalks and the empty way.
I'm influenced by absolutely everything. Every good thing, every bad thing, the weather. I'm a sponge for every influence that comes near me, and it all gets like churned around. And the good thing that happens is it comes out in the songs. The bad things that happens is I can't get it out and it stays inside and it continues to get chewed and churned and it never leaves. So it's good when it like gets distilled quickly and goes away, that anything I write lyrically, will end up getting kind of squished into the way I play guitar, just necessarily so. And the way I play guitar is getting even more distilled now too because of the way my, the physical limitations that I have now that I didn't have before, so it feels like with this new record, everything is getting even more distilled into this very kind of concentrated. If I can get a good song out of it, I don't have to do the steps of like writing a story. I can write a song that is a story, or at least that piece of a story. My favorite short stories, are those kind of Raymond Carver-ish stories that are not really about nothing, but they're not really about anything either, They're just kind of, here's a kid that goes fishing and, meets another kid and catches a fish and then has to cut him in half and has a fight about who gets the head and who gets the tail. The end. And I love that. I'm like, that's what life is. That's what life is. That's what makes really good life for me. It's the eternal now. And so if I can write a song that kind of visits that eternal moment, I think I feel like I'm getting there. I think that my favorite moments in philosophy, reading Wittgenstein, the Wittgenstein, at least Wittgenstein Part 1, the early Wittgenstein was a master at making a lot of noise with just a little bit of nothing, and it made real sense to me. It went right to my head. You need to learn how to be satisfied because life goes tearing by you, just woof, and it's gone. It's important to understand you need to learn how to be satisfied because things are very seldom the best, the biggest, the sweetest, the anything est. They're normally just whatever they are, Like the working for the weekend thing that people get involved with, that when I was working, I didn't like that feeling of I can't wait for Friday, When Friday comes, everything's going to be fine, it's only Tuesday. I hate Tuesday, you know. Wednesday's a little bit better. It's hump day, you know. We're over the hump, you know, over the bad part of the week. Thursday's good because Friday's tomorrow, and then Friday comes. It's Friday, yeah, and then it's Saturday, and it's like, oh God, it's getting away. You know, what do I do now? I've got to do something. Get drunk, you know, eat a bunch of food, you know, go running around, and then it's Sunday. And it's Sunday's here. I can't stand it because tomorrow's Monday, and it's gone now. I wish for it all week long, and in a blink of an eye, it's gone. That's not true for me, you know. What's true for me is every day's got some weird little thing about it that I really like, you know. Even if it's really, really minuscule, you know. Every day is some weird little adventure that is, you know, boring and stupid, but I like it. I don't care. I like it anyway, you know. Like, yeah, you can think and wish your whole life away that way. When my mom and dad, you know, they would always say, you know, here's this thing. Learn to be satisfied with it. This is what it is. This is all it is. If you can't find something in there that you can be satisfied and happy with, the problem is in you, not in this.
So white, I've been living in the bottom all of my life. I ain't none but fight. Well, I ain't none but fight. Chick moon, old Joe, but what makes you fly so high? Been robbing your contract all of my life. It's wonder I don't die. It's a wonder I don't die. Your claws so hard, scratching that gravel all of my life. It's a wonder I ain't tired. It's a wonder I ain't tired. Hey, on ground, what makes your back so brown? It's a wonder I don't smother pie from living down in the ground, from living down in the ground. Muskrat, what makes you smell so bad? Living in the bottom all my life, I'm mortified in my head, mortified in my head. Hey, old rattlesnake, what makes your teeth so white? I've been living in the bottom all of my life, and I ain't none but fight, I ain't none but fight, yes. That's for Spider John. That's for Spider John. Well, there ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. Hear that trumpet sound? You're gonna get up off the ground. Ain't no grave gonna hold my body down. You go down
Hey guys, hope you guys are doing well. I'm looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. Have a safe trip. Watch out for the bears. Don't forget to bring a coat. And we'll talk to you later. Call me when you get here. Thanks. Woo! Maybe I should do that again without the